Welcome to Behind the Badge with your special guest, Lieutenant Williams, your news source for all things police in the city of Fond du Lac.
It's KFIZ Today on a Friday. That means Behind the Badge, our weekly visit with Lieutenant Ryan Williams from the Fond du Lac Police Department. Happy Friday. How's it going today?
Well, it's going wonderful, and maybe I've been running out of things to talk about, so I brought some extra people that can fill in some talking for me.
You have two guests with you in studio today.
Two very special guests. Two of my community service officers have come join us. One of them is CSO Corbin West, and the other one who has been here before, right, Corbin?
Corbin's been in here, yes.
Yep, a couple times, and then we have Maggie Flagg over there, who she has been only once, and she is now holding it against me that I'm not invited her more often. So I'm going to try to get her in more often, I guess.
There we go. Happy to have her in here anytime she wants. So I believe municipal statutes.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize, or maybe they know about it, but we want to kind of go into detail that our city has different code violations and things around it, and we don't really get into too many specifics of those codes. A lot of people usually have questions about them, but they might not know where to resource them or where to find them and find out if they're in violation or not. And so we have Corbin here, who's a new CSO, and he's kind of taken it upon himself to really learn and go deep into these, deeper than I've ever asked him to go. I don't know, but it just so happens the last couple of weeks we've had one of these code violations kind of reoccurring several times. So I don't know what's gonna be a segment. We're gonna demo it right here.
Okay.
We're gonna do we'll have to come up with a clever name, Corbin, but this will be our municipal code violation of the week, maybe. So Corbin, the show is yours. Tell us what this week's code violation is.
So this week we are talking about chapter 720-14, which is titled Mobile Homes, Recreational Vehicles and Equipment, Prohibited Vehicles and Equipment. So basically recently I've personally been taking a lot of calls of people that have their truck parked in their front lawn, or maybe like a junked vehicle or an unregistered vehicle, doesn't have plates on it, things like that in their driveway, which actually this code directly states in here that you have to have your vehicle street legal to be able to park it in your driveway or out on the lawn. Otherwise it does have to be parked inside of your garage.
So if it's exposed to any view of the public, basically, you gotta have, it's gotta be able to be on the road. And what we find is a lot of people are even parking these kind of vehicles on the street, which is a double no-go, right, Corbin?
That is true. A lot of vehicles we have are just your cars and trucks, and then also even just your independent trailer, or if you have a motorhome, something like that. The statute will all relate to that. If it goes very into detail, it's very easy to understand. I know some of these codes can be a little difficult to understand, but this one does go very into detail, and it'll answer, I think, any question that you have about.
Where would someone find these codes?
You can go just type in City of Fond du Lac on Google, and you can click on that page that's going to come up, and you can just scroll down until you find municipal code, and you can click on that, and then you can search by specific words, or you can just type right in 720-14 and it should come right up.
So one of our big nemesis throughout last summer and this year have been the mobile home / campers, because there's not a lot of good options of what we can do. A lot of times people will tow these vehicles for us, but then beyond that, usually what happens is we'll send them to auction, no one buys them, and then we sell them off for scrap. The problem with these vehicles is they're large, and there's not a lot of money for scrap out of them, so nobody wants them, and we're kind of stuck with them then. So we really are kind of on moving these vehicles. So if you have one of these vehicles and it's not moving and it needs to be moved, or if it's filled with junk or something like that, we're probably going to get a lot of phone calls from us and start getting fines and citations and stuff like that.
Does this include pop-up campers?
Yes, definitely. Actually, we know of one that's outside the city limits right now, that there's a pop-up camper, which unfortunately we can't take it because it's in the county.
So could someone have that sitting in their driveway, or no?
So as long as it's road ready, yes, they
So-
could.
so
So
it's-
if it's road ready,
Right.
it could. But if it's junked out,
Right.
you know, you've seen those ones where they make ice shanties out of them or whatever. Like that might be questionable, but it's gotta be road ready, and you'd be good to go. So, and then like some neighborhoods, you know, they have special covenants which we wouldn't really enforce, but you can only have you're supposed to only in my neighborhood have your camper out during like the summer months.
Right.
So.
And you said this code has been one that you've been having to enforce lately.
Yep, so typically, like for me, I'll go to this call and I can't write you a city ordinance violation personally, I can't. An officer can, or the aggressor, our city code guy can. But typically we will go to the call, we'll try and resolve it if we can, just by trying to reach out to the owner, something like that, resolve ourselves. If it does rise to the level that we see that it does something needs to be addressed, then we would probably reach out to aggressor and have him go from there with it.
So we're trying to be as nice as we can,
Sure.
but obviously things have gotten to that level before, and we don't want it to. But you know, we just want the city to be a nice place, look nice. Nobody wants to live next to a junkyard. Yeah. We also have someone else in our studio, and I know she's just ready to talk over there. One of the cool things with Maggie over here is it's been a long journey already, and the journey still continues. She's been a CSO for over a year, I believe, and you know, we kind of hired her with the intention of wanting to take her on as the police force, and she went through the hiring process, and she just passed her last. It's called the physical readiness test at Fox Valley Tech to get into the academy, and she passed. So, Maggie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what that test is?
So the test entails a few different things. It includes a vertical jump, sit-ups, push-ups, an agility run, a 300-meter sprint, which is personally my least favorite, and a 1.5 miles. And most of them you gotta meet them in, you have to meet a certain number of reps, and then most of them you also have to do it underneath a certain amount of time. So, yeah, it's just something that you gotta practice for and just make sure that you're physically ready for. So we've been practicing a lot, especially push-ups. I've greatly improved on over the last few months here, and yeah.
She's kind of understating it. So when probably about a month and a half ago, she kind of started really doing push-ups, and she'd been doing them for a while, but not going down low enough. And she discovered probably about a month and a half ago that she wasn't going low enough. So we've been really working on it. I've been kind of coming in the gym, kind of helping her and stuff, and she has been putting forth a ton of effort. Like, there were some times where I just told her, you're gonna have to like not do push-ups a little bit because your body does have to recover at a certain point. And very proud of her. There's two different standards. There's the entrance standards to get in the academy, and there's the exit standards, which are a little bit higher, but that's what you need to meet by the time you exit the academy. And she actually met the exit standards on her push-ups, which is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We're talking from like starting from point one where there probably wasn't one legal push-up
Yeah.
to 23.
23, yeah.
I'm just gonna ask
23.
how many you have to do.
You have 23 push-ups, and yeah, like he said, 2 months ago I probably, like, correct ones per se, I really probably couldn't do 10, not even 10, probably not even 5 really good ones, but yeah, I had met the exit standards, so I was pretty happy with that. It was definitely the most push-ups I had done at once. I was hoping for just 18, which is the minimum that you need, but once I hit 18 I just kept going, so I was
Yeah,
like, might as well just try,
It
see how
was
many I can get.
pretty awesome, and her form was terrific. So
That's
and
great.
we always tell her that just don't leave any question, don't leave it up to the judges to decide, you know. But no, it's been so it kind of added to the journey, and now it's just a matter of we're waiting for the academy to start, and I got to do all the paperwork and stuff to get them all set. But it's been a long journey, and it's been fun, and there's more to come. But yeah, it's pretty. People don't really realize when you be a police officer, the physical readiness test, like there's a lot of things on there that she listed off that you don't necessarily ever really train for. Like most people don't train for the vertical jump. Like a lot of these sprint things, if you weren't in track, like you might need to relearn how to run a little bit. Like a lot of people run a little bit kind of funky. Like they a lot of their momentum might be going from side to side instead of forward. And there's a lot of things that maybe people that have been in track or sports like take for granted that other people are like, oh, like okay, they probably never were taught that. So it's kind of weird, but you have to train in a different way for that test, you know.
Sure.
And is it equivalent to what officers see on the road? Who's to say, right? But it's basically it's just a standard of health that they want you to achieve, and how could you find the perfect measurement of that? And I don't think there is a good answer for that.
Maggie, how does it feel to get through that and now, be ready to go to academy?
I am extremely relieved. I've greatly enjoyed the process, but it has been quite stressful just because I do want to make sure I pass everything and pass it to the best of my abilities. So I've put a lot of pressure on myself in that sense, but I'm very happy that I've accomplished everything I've set out to this far. And I'm just very happy that I'm finally moving on to the next step. I basically just have to graduate in May now, and then I'll be moving on in June. And I'm very excited because it feels like it's been a very long time coming. So I'm very relieved and happy.
It's kind of cool since she's been on our journey at the police department for a while, that they were on the drive back, because we all rode together, Team Fond du Lac, and from the physical readiness test, and their biggest discussion was what photo we were going to use on the big intro to the police department, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's something we started new, like when we have a new officer or whatever, is we get their photo out, we give them a little bio and stuff like that, and there was most of the discussion on the ride home of which one to use, and we might be orchestrating a photo shoot today. Is that happening today?
Yes, that
Really?
is.
So Maggie is very proud of her dog, Dozer.
Diesel.
Diesel, yeah. And so we might be doing a photo shoot with Diesel, so we can have a photo for that. So.
Well, fun. Looking forward to seeing that.
I work hard so my pets can have a better life.
But yeah, so all the little things, the cookies with rookies we do, and a lot of the other things that help our officers get to know each other and make them feel part of our family. So it's kind of neat that people look forward to actually some of these things.
No, that's
now.
great. Yeah, it's all team building, culture. It's all wonderful stuff.
So that's basically all we have today. Unless Corbin, you got any more? Are we going to be looking forward to other municipal statutes? Maybe.
I think in the future we could see more.
I think we might have a weekly segment. Yeah.
Maybe. He has them memorized, like the statute numbers memorized. Kind of to break it to that most officers still have to look up those particular codes.
Might would probably have to, yes.
State statutes we're already pretty good on, but like when you get into those actual code numbers, it gets a little bit tougher for us. So that's why we have the internet machine, right?
It's definitely right. All right. Well, I appreciate all you guys coming in studio today, and Lieutenant, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right.